How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Couples Coverage. I'm your host, Nicholas Moreano, and I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, Stephanie Abonce. Babe, how's it going?
It's going good.
Going good.
Recording a little bit later today.
A little bit later, but we're still going to get these episodes out on Wednesday. That's the plan, and this is episode 6 of Couples Coverage. Make sure you like this video on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the Spotify, and then also share this with a friend, family member, somebody, another couple that you may know that you think would enjoy this podcast. But today's episode is all about jobs and jobs that we've had growing up. And, you know, everybody, you know, has had that one job that maybe you're not proud of or that was really fun or was the exact opposite of that.
Jobs before you get into your actual career.
Yeah, so
high school jobs, college jobs.
Exactly. We've all had a bunch of them, and as you're watching and listening to us share our stories, we would love if you shared some of the jobs that you've had when you were growing up. Leave them in the comments, your best, worst, and a story from them. We would love to hear that and just kind of hear what, you know, all of our listeners and viewers have had growing up. But before we actually get into the main topic for this show, we have to kind of recap what our last week was like. We were both out of town. You were in Philadelphia. I was in Las Vegas. How was Philly?
Philly was great. It was my second time in Philly, so I'm a little bit familiar with it already. I went back to the same area just to oversee an event. Last time you actually got to go with me, so we got to explore Philly together. We did like the Rocky Steps.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. But this time doing it by myself, it was good. It felt like a city day. Mm-hmm. Like a quick city day. Not as busy as Chicago, but it had the same feel to it. So I really liked it.
What food did you have out there? Did you have anything
I had
Philadelphia?
No. Well, Philly's known for their Philly cheesesteaks. I can't have that.
Oh, that's right. Last time actually I had it, I was a little disappointed in maybe the location I went to, and I don't know exactly the name of it.
Well, we found out later that the locals were saying they don't go to that one.
I wish I knew the name of it, but yeah. So my Philly cheesesteak in Philly was not the greatest, but
it's mid.
It was very mid.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else. Well, actually, you know, it's pretty funny. The first day that I got there on like a Wednesday around 6, and I planned on kind of going out and exploring because I didn't have to work obviously until the next day. But I got so sick from the Uber drive to the hotel, and I just kind of felt like staying in, so I just picked up some pad thai, and I had pad thai in bed.
Darn Uber drives, they like just driving low, right? That's what kind of gets you.
Yeah, the driving low and sitting in the back. I'm fine in the front, but sitting in the back, which you normally do in Ubers, just gets me so sick.
But that was the worst part of it. I mean, obviously, you had a good time, good work trip.
That was it. But I guess I was laughing because I never, ever, ever eat in bed. But because I was in a hotel, it wasn't my bed. I was also in one of those, like, I don't know if they're, like, mini hotels.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So, like, you don't have a lot of, like, living space. So I just threw on, literally, I think I put on one of our episodes.
Oh, nice.
And I just had pad thai and watched one of our episodes.
See, you can have food in bed and listen to Couples Coverage. I can't think of a better combo than that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I felt kind of funny doing it. Like, I'm eating in bed. Wild. No, I'm kidding. It's not that crazy. But I just don't ever do that. So.
Gotcha. I know a lot of people do. It's not that crazy. For me, I was in Las Vegas, Nevada on a work trip. Circa Sports and Casino Resort. They sent us out there, to my coworkers Sean and Cody, and then our producer Marissa. We were able to go on Radio Row, do a couple shows out there, and kind of get introduced to Circa, which was awesome. My hotel, I mean, it was first class. First off, it started off with a stretch limo picking us up from the airport. Shout out to you, Marvin. Found our gear ready to go. It took us in the stretch limo. There were beers and there was hard alcohol. We didn't touch that. We had a couple beers along the 20 minute or so drive to the hotel.
Was this your first time in a limo?
The last time I think I was in a limo was back probably in high school for like homecoming. So it had been a long time being in a stretch limo, but it was really cool to just for like 20 minutes go down and kind of see Las Vegas and see it all lit up and stuff while we had a couple of beers on the ride there. But our hotel, I mean, it was crazy because they have everything that you can want. If you're a gambler, this is exactly where you need to be, whether it's sports gambling, the slots, roulette tables, poker, everything. They had it all there, the machines. So they had all that, but then they also have these 6 swimming pools, 6 of them, and then like this giant TV where, well, I guess there's multiple screens with different things going on, and my room overlooked that. So I was like, man, I cannot wait to get in the pools.
Yeah.
But on this trip, I made a little extra money on the trip just by one, playing like the little machines. I didn't really know exactly how it was working, but there was this dragon one, and every time the dragon came out, I was winning money. I ended up getting like $500 on it. Kept playing it, lost a little bit of money, went to 300, and then went on the last day to the virtual roulette table. And basically, I kind of had a strategy made up on the spot where I would bet 1 through 18. Then I would go to red, then even, then odd, then black, then like 19 through 36.
So you
and
remember this strategy.
Oh, yeah. So I just button. Every time I win, keep going. And I would just cycle through that. And I started at 8. I put a 20 in. It went down to 8. That 8 eventually total turned into $1,400. It was nuts. It was crazy. I got out at the right time as well. But yeah, I made a little extra spending cash while I was in Vegas. And
you had the full Vegas experience.
Kind of.
Well, actually, you're right. Because when you think Vegas, you also think of a lot of like, I don't know.
Who knows?
What do you think of when people say Vegas? I definitely think gambling, but I also think of like, I don't know why I always just picture like boobs out, like.
Oh, there was a nun who on the strip had, I think, the cross over her nipple. So, yeah. But yeah, I guess that I just think of the movie The Hangover, the first one, where it's a crazy night. You don't know exactly what's happening, but yeah, wasn't that wild. We still had work to do, but I know that while I was there and I told you I had won money, I think maybe you saw it coming.
I saw it coming.
Yeah, with the number.
Yeah. So I think I was already back at this point when like you told me this and I couldn't believe it. Okay, so as I've mentioned before, I'm a really big believer in signs. And on this trip specifically, I kept seeing the number 44 everywhere. And it's not uncommon for me to see certain numbers repeatedly, but on this trip, it was the number 44. It was so in my face that I eventually just started taking pictures of it because I couldn't believe how, like, in my face it was. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a bus that pulled up next to me, like a PACE bus, a public transportation bus, and it had the number 44 on the back. It just so happened to stop, like, right in front of me. And then there was another time, this was after the event that I was overseeing. As I mentioned to you before, sorry, I keep hitting your mic. As I mentioned to you before, after the event, I wanted to go get some food. I left around like 9:30 at night, and normally I would never walk by myself that late. I think it was like a 10-minute walk from where I was to where I wanted to get food from. And so I thought about Ubering, but I felt pretty safe just because of the area. It was in a college town. And I don't know, I just wanted to walk around and kind of still like explore and get to just like walk around a little bit. And it just so happened that the GPS took me down a street called 44th Street. And every single building in this street started with the number 44. So I have a video of myself like walking through, like recording it because I just couldn't believe that I happened to be on the street. And I ended up looking it up while I was there, and it said the number 44 like represents, or it says that you could be coming into financial abundance. And I was like, okay, so money's coming. Like there's going to be money coming because this is like, it's trying to tell me something. And I almost texted you like money's coming, but I didn't even really think like, hey, you're in Vegas.
Yeah. Where
you could come into some money. I thought it was for me. Like I thought this message was mine. Like where am I going to find this money? Anyway, so you like happen to tell me that you ended up winning on games that like people don't typically win at. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, I literally almost texted you, like, money's coming, and you just so happened to win a good amount.
And I think, I mean, look, I'm not a gambler like that. That was maybe my, I don't know, second or third time ever being in a casino and actually, like, playing games.
Yeah.
And I end up winning big and, getting that money. And I think maybe if you had told me, maybe it wouldn't have happened. I don't know. That's just how things worked. But it's crazy that you saw all those numbers and then, money didn't come. Yeah, won some money.
It happened to be for you, not me, but it's still fine.
Yeah, but we're connected, right? Even when we're away, connected, to have that good energy going. So, yeah, that was basically our trips last week. And, we've been traveling even before that. If you listen to the last episode. So,
actually, though, I do want to say, I thought it was so funny. So you came back, and what did we do that day after you came back?
After I came back from Vegas?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had to go cover a football game.
Yeah, but what did we do that night?
Oh, we were back.
Now we have a problem. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So even though I had like no sleep and, went to go literally Vegas, came back to Chicago, covered a football game.
Wait, the thing is, I didn't think I was even going to see him until Saturday night. So you were flying back Friday night?
Friday night, early Saturday morning.
Early Saturday morning. So I thought he was going to go straight from like Vegas to get dropped off to Chicago and then just drive his car to the game. Like I thought you were going to be on like just a sleep that you got on the plane, and I didn't think I was going to see you. But I think you got here a little bit earlier than you thought, and you just happened to stop by, and I thought I was dreaming. I'm like, wait, you're really here?
Yeah, no, it was I came back
and then you told me you got more
got the money and then quickly showered, went back. But later that night, Saturday night, what do? We go to Rivers Casino, which is like 10 or about 15 minutes from where we're at. Like, maybe the luck's still hot. Maybe I'm still hot. I was not. $100 disappeared really, really quickly.
120.
120. Sorry, 120. And so look. Do I want to kind of go back to a casino again? Maybe, but I kind of learned right then and there that, hey, you should probably quit while you're on top, and that's what I did in Vegas. It didn't carry over to Chicago, and that's all right. But gambling is not the topic for today's show. Not unless that is a job that you may have had, because that is a topic about just jobs that we've had back in the day when you're in high school, college, whatever. And we wanted to just share some of our, stories and experiences that we've had at some of our previous jobs. And again, you got to leave it in the comments. I want to know where everyone's worked and what was a crazy story or something you'll never forget.
Yeah.
But, babe, I'm just going to hand it over to you. You can, whatever you want, share the experience of a job, some of the jobs you worked at, but the floor is yours.
Okay. So, I guess I'm going to start with my most intense story just because this was literally my first job ever. And when it comes to stories that I have, like, this one's going to just be at the top always because I don't think I've ever experienced anything crazier than this, knock on wood. But, yeah, so my first job ever, I was working at KFC. And I got this job really easily. I didn't drive yet, so I didn't start driving until after high school. I don't think I ever took driver's ed. No, I didn't take driver's ed at all. So I was just waiting till I turned 18 to drive. But I wanted to get a job that was close enough so that my parents didn't have to drive far to pick me up and drop me off. So this specific KFC was like 5 minutes away from where we used to live. And the hiring process was like the easiest thing that I've ever gone through. My brother also worked at one, and it would just so happened to be managed by the same people. So when they found out I was his sister, they literally just gave me a start date. They told me to borrow his shirt and hat, and they just told me to go in, like, I think that Friday or something. So easiest thing ever, and I was so, like, excited to be working my first job. And this is gonna literally wasted no time to get crazy. So on my second job, my second day of my first job ever, day two, we ended up getting robbed at gunpoint. There's no like way to like say it lightly, like
no.
Okay. So when I started, they had me working the register in the front, and this was, I think, around like 9:30 because we were getting ready to close, and they had just basically told me that when customers come in, I think they have like 3 to 5 seconds or something that you want to like make sure you greet people when they come in. So within that time frame, like you want to make sure you acknowledge them, and the door would make like a bell sound whenever people would walk in. So I remember I was in the back. I think we were kind of cleaning, like I said, ready to close down for the day, and I heard the bell ring, and so I went up to greet people, and I saw a man coming in from the side of the door, or just coming in through the door, and I didn't know exactly, like I didn't process it right away, but just the way he came in put me like, I don't know, like my guard went up immediately. So he walked in with a bandana around his face, and he pulled out a gun, and it was, I don't know guns at all, but it was like a like longer looking gun.
Okay.
And then I noticed that another man also walked in through the side of the other door. I'm sorry, I keep hitting your mic. Another man came in through the other side of the door, and in the moment, it was just so hard for me to process what exactly was going on, because I didn't like, I almost feel like I didn't believe what I was seeing. Like, is this really happening? And I also thought that it was a drill for some reason. When I look back at it, I thought it was like a made up drill to see what we would do in the situation. I don't know where my mind, like why I thought that, but I just remember I froze for a second. And once the guy that I saw hopped the register, like hopped that front desk area, I didn't care if it was a drill or not. Like I was obviously like really scared. So I just walked to the back. And like I said, this was my second day. So I didn't even know where like the exit was in the back. I didn't know where anything was at this point still. Like everything was still super new to me. So I just remember I didn't really even know where to go. So I just went to like where this like storage thing was, and I sat down, and that's when I realized the other man that came in through the side was back there to make sure that we didn't like move, and we just like had our hands up, and he also had a gun on him too. And thankfully he didn't like point it at us, but just seeing it in my head, I remember thinking like, okay, so this is it. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just remember thinking like, I can't believe this is it. I can't believe like I haven't like experienced anything really yet. I can't believe my parents are going to get a call that I've been like shot or something, which sounds so like scary and just sad to like really say out loud. And then I also just remember thinking like, I hope it's fast and I hope it doesn't hurt. And I just remember like doing like sign of the cross, and just like, I think I looked at him, like I literally looked at him in his eyes, and I was just like, please, like take anything. And he was just kind of like walking around still in the back. And in the front, even though I couldn't see it, I could hear kind of what was going on a little bit. So they had grabbed the supervisor that was on shift that day, and they were having him like open the registers, opening the safe and stuff, which I don't even know how. I almost feel like I wouldn't be able to like think. So I can't imagine what he was going through, having to like open the safe. I feel like I wouldn't even be able to do that. But anyway, so when this guy that was in the back watching us kind of went towards the front, that's when one of the cooks that was back there kind of led us all into this freezer that was back there, just to kind of get us like out of the way. We weren't sure if they were still in the front or not, but we went into this freezer. We like turned off the lights, put some of the like these racks of trays that we had in front of the door. We like turned off the lights and just went back there and like literally just like held each other in the corner. And there was one guy, like it was obviously my second day, but there was another guy who was also, it was literally his third day. So both terrified. And yeah, I just remember like waiting there. Like I remember like I was shaking so much. I couldn't believe what was happening. It felt like time was going so slow. And I don't know really how long we were in there for, but it felt like a long time. And I don't even really know exactly who ended up calling the cops or what exactly we were waiting for. But eventually, when this fridge got opened, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know who was opening it. So as soon as I saw this door open, immediately like panicked all over again. And it ended up being the cops. But just after experiencing all of that and having it like kind of like set in what was going on, I didn't trust anybody. Like I saw the cops, I can see that people were there, but I didn't want to be around anyone. I didn't want anyone to like, I don't know. I was literally looking at them like, I don't know who you are and I don't trust you either. And I don't know. I feel like after that, it's kind of a little bit of a blur. I remember seeing the supervisor just like really like shooken up, and he was on the phone, and he was also a young guy, even though at the time he was my supervisor. Like looking back, he must have just been like 19.
Jeez.
And I remember he said like, I literally thought he was gonna die also, because he's the one that actually physically got this gun pointed to him. And I remember him saying like, I thought like I was never gonna get married and have kids. Like I thought that was it, which is so sad. But I remember like it really bonded us. Like we all like experienced this together. Like only we knew exactly like what happened and how we were feeling in that moment. But we were like, after that, I think we all sat down and got questioned by these cops that were there. Unfortunately, these guys never got caught because we didn't have cameras, and they ended up just leaving before cops got there. And I think the scariest part too is just knowing that they must have been watching us and waiting for there to be no one else in there. And also just knowing that we were going to close soon, because they just happened to be there right before closing time, and right before the safes don't open anymore for the night. So it ended up almost having like, there was like a controversy of like whether it was like, I don't want to say inside job, but it's like, how did they know that these safes don't open anymore after a certain time?
That's interesting.
So I don't know. It was honestly so scary, but I called my parents. They immediately came. The district manager was there talking to all of us. And I remember him saying like, I'm so sorry you guys went through all of this. And I'm sorry that, obviously this is like a really scary situation, but I understand if you guys don't want to work here anymore. If like you guys want to be done after this, I completely get it. But most people will only experience this once in their lives. So you guys have gotten it like out of the way basically, and you don't have to worry about it anymore.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy.
And you ended up...
And I ended up staying.
I commend you for that, because I don't know if I would have been able to do that. Just stay, especially knowing what just happened. And
I know.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people would, do the same and not work there. But
no, I know.
Stayed.
Yeah, there was one guy who ended up leaving after that, but
makes sense.
I don't know. I don't know why exactly I stayed. I do remember. I think it was the convenience part, and I also did believe him. I'm like, what are the chances that this would happen again? Did you
guys get cameras after that?
I can't remember. I want to say we did, but I really can't remember if we did or not. Yeah, I would hope so too. But yeah, I ended up staying, and again, like this did give me a lot of trauma looking back, because I was very like terrified, so jumpy after that. Like I hated it when customers would come in, because I was still working the register after that. If customers came in with like their hands in their pockets, I would immediately freak out. I immediately wanted to like run to the back. If anyone looked like even remotely suspicious, and maybe they weren't, maybe it was just in my head, but because I was so on edge after that, I was just so scared. And there was one time where someone came to pick up their check. They weren't in uniform. They just came to pick up their check. So he like said, hey, can you open this back door? And I immediately like ran to the back and like told everyone like, we're getting robbed again, because I that's where my head would go immediately. And he just happened to work there, which is kind of funny looking back now.
Yep, just getting my check.
Yeah, he was just getting his check. But I don't know. Yeah, I hadn't met him before, which is why I didn't know, because I think he worked a different schedule than I did. But yeah, it was really scary. Again, as I've told you before, like I feel like this is the reason why I don't like any sort of like confrontation or conflict, like if we're in a bar or someone's getting kicked out or there's any sort of like conflict at all, I just don't want to be around it, because I don't feel like it does stem from that. Because I used to get excited if I saw like some drama. I'd be like nosy, what's going on over there? Now, nope. I don't care what's going on. I just don't want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite the experience that a lot of us cannot relate to. And, obviously I'm glad that you're not working at KFC anymore, or, have never been in that situation after that one moment, your second day of work, which is nuts.
I know. Like, what are the chances of that?
Yeah, that's intense. And again, I don't know. What are you getting at a KFC? I don't know how much money they expected to get, but I can almost guarantee it wasn't what they were thinking.
Yeah.
To be robbed at gunpoint, which is crazy. Maybe get a few chicken legs here and there.
Maybe
but
some chicken.
Who knows? But that was an intense story.
Yeah.
My story that I'm going to share is not as intense, but before we get to that, just have to tell everybody about OWYN. Stands for Only What You Need. If you're looking for a protein shake, that one is 100% plant-based, has zero net carbs, non-GMO, 100% gluten-free, and 100% vegan, OWYN's going to be the way to go. And if you've been watching Couples Coverage for the last 5 episodes, you'll know that OWYN and Couples Coverage we're like the best of partners here. And that's because if you use the code CC15 at checkout, you actually save 15% off your first order. So what I recommend you do is you just stock up on all the different OWYN products. They have these pre-made shakes, which are good, convenient, taste great on the go. Or you can get the powder that they have, and they have meal supplements. And this one's 32 grams. They also have a dark chocolate version, which I actually have right here. 20 grams of protein. So if you want something a little lighter, OWYN's got everything that you're looking for, and again, only has the ingredients that you actually need to put in your body. But what I recommend, like I said, you're doing, just stock up, use that code CC15, and you'll get 15% off your first purchase. So everyone, after you're done watching this entire episode or listening, go check out OWYN, and you'll definitely not regret it, especially if you use that code CC15 at checkout. Okay, so yeah. I mentioned that mine's definitely not going to be intense. It does have some intense moments, but one of the jobs I want to highlight that I worked at was the Waukegan Port District, and this was a summer job after, I forget which year of college I ended up working there, but me and my best friend Ben, we went out there and worked, and basically, essentially, what we had to do was clean up garbage, empty out the trash bags, make sure the docks and everything were nice and clean. We always joked and called ourselves the garbage men of the sea, even though we worked on, like, it was Lake Michigan, but we said the garbage men of the sea. And actually, what's funny, we actually made it on like the Waukegan like Facebook page, because we went out to the beach and in these trucks, and we got our little pickers to pick up trash, and we looked like we were working. We did pick up trash, but we really just did it to buy time, and we ended up getting photographed,
recognized,
and it's like, hey, we got our pickers, look at these guys doing hard work. All the comments are like, thank you so much for doing all this stuff, and we're like,
gosh.
Yeah, we're making Waukegan a better place.
The port clean.
Yeah, we kept it clean. But so yeah, that was funny. But one of our responsibilities, other than taking out trash and putting it in the back of our carts and making sure everything was nice and clean, we had to clean bathrooms, stuff like that, really glamorous job. We had to use the power washer to wash some of the docks and, or like the ways to get to the boats and things like that. And there's a bunch of seagull poop all everywhere. So we would get the power washer and just, clean it consistently. I remember there was this one pier where we cleaned everything, and it's satisfying just to see all that crap get off of there using the power washer. We'd clean it, and then later that day we had to go back around that same area, and we noticed that it was all back. And we're like, wow, these seagulls, they love to crap all over the place. And so we're like, all right, let's get the power washer again. And we're about to go do this, but it wasn't happening. And it's because what we were staring at us was the swollest seagull I've ever seen in my life. Like, kid you not, could definitely bench 225, could flip me off the pier and put me into the water, but it was just kind of walking like this. And we were like, Oh hell no! This seagull is literally walking like it's about to. It wants to go. And
I'm picturing like he's like bouncer.
yeah,
he's like IDs, gentlemen.
Yeah, and we were not of age because that guy was literally walking like this, chest out. Would have ended our lives if we would even gone near that pier, that deck. And we did not power wash because we just left it, and we were hoping that, you know, Swole Seagull would fly away to do whatever Swole Seagulls do and get all the girl seagulls, whatever. But yeah, that was not happening. And look, my friend Ben, he's a big guy. He's like 6'8", and you know me, I'd like to think I work out, but we wouldn't have had a chance against that Swole Seagull. But
I wish there was a picture of this. I wish you guys had one.
I think we were too afraid to take a picture of him because he probably would have killed us.
You were in fight or flight.
Yeah, and we took flight. And
yeah.
This obviously the seagull could fly. But yeah, we'll never forget that Swole Seagull, and you know, I always have that picture in my mind. Another like experience that I had working at the Port District is a lot more serious, where there was a reportedly a person missing, and you know, and first responders were coming down to the Waukegan beach front to, you know, eventually find like a missing person, a body essentially. So what I had to do that day, and I think I was the only one on that shift at that time.
Was this nighttime?
It was like mid-afternoon, and it turned to night by the time everything got situated. But I had to go down like these I guess roads, or piers or whatever, and take some of the equipment down to the scuba divers and the people that were trying to find this body. And you couldn't take a car or anything because obviously it was way too narrow, but the cart that I was driving could fit down there. So I would load up some of the gear on the back of the truck, basically the cart, and then go down this rail this way. And it was still pretty like narrow to where even if I was a little off, like I'm going in the water as well. So I had to drive down there with the equipment, going pretty slow, get it down there, and then there are portions where I had to just straight up reverse. So keeping it steady, then eventually do a 3-point turn, and you know, kind of do that back and forth while just lugging over equipment, and sometimes a passenger or one of the first responders would also, you know, ride with me down there. And I just kept having to do that until, you know, they eventually found like the body. But it was intense, and it was it was obviously a way different routine than what I'm used to doing at that job. But yeah, I'll never forget that one either. It was definitely you know, it was stressful, but also like I just wanted to do whatever they asked of me to help them do their job the most effective way that they could. But
just a big responsibility and a lot of like pressure, obviously, with such a serious situation happening.
For sure, yeah, no doubt about it. But you know, thankfully I was able to go up and down these piers, these docks, and just kind of go down there, get the equipment there, and you know, help them out as much as I could. But yeah, there was that's definitely a story I won't forget. But yeah, way too different stories from working at the Waukegan Port District.
Yeah, I know. Well, whenever you tell me the Port District now, I always picture the seagulls. And whenever we go back, I was like, where is the seagull still?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to run into him again. Yeah. That's for sure.
Wow, crazy. I always feel like there's probably like, well, how long did you work there for?
Was it? I know it was at least one summer, but we would also go back to, I think it was almost like a summer and a half. And then actually after that job, I had worked as a camp counselor. Like as I was working at the Port District, got an opportunity to be a camp counselor, and was like, I'm done picking up trash and stuff. Yeah. Let me go work as a camp counselor.
Whenever you tell me that now, sometimes I get stuck on TikTok watching, I know this is like a different job, but I get stuck watching lifeguards. So it's like a day on the job of a lifeguard, and it's crazy how many kids like go missing, and not always in like a, you know, they're in the water situation, but it's just like they can't find them on the beach, and there's a lot of people. So I'm almost a little bit surprised that you don't have more like intense stories like that, because from what I've seen, it's just like, wow, it feels like something's going on all the time.
Yeah, no, where I was at too, it's like more of like the boats are docked there, the yachts, like they're
Oh,
million
okay.
dollar boats and stuff, and you're like, man, who owns this, and can I get a ride on that
Did you ever get to go inside of them?
No, we got to clean out poop out of one of them, and that I can tell you is one of the nastiest smells I've ever smelled. And the thing is, we didn't know how to quite do this, where you had to put like this pump to it, and if something's not locked in right, you're gonna get crap all over you. It's like, so we had another guy who was older, more experienced, kind of do that while we were just watching from afar and hoping not to get poop on us. So, yeah, you never got to go on one, but you got to smell the poop that came out of it.
Oh, God. I never even thought about that.
Oh, yeah.
I've never thought
terrible.
about that. Like, where does that go? Well, I guess
it goes somewhere and
someone
gets sucked
cleans it out.
Eventually. Yeah.
Oh.
That was me.
What did you call yourselves again?
The garbage men of the sea.
Garbage men of the sea. I feel like you should get like a t-shirt. Garbage men of the
or something.
sea. Yeah.
Yep.
A little badge.
I like that.
That's funny.
What other jobs have you done there, and experiences that you want to share with our listeners and viewers?
So, my second job, again, I don't really remember how long I stayed at KFC after that. I feel like it must have been like a year, 2 years. I don't know. But my second job after that was a water park resort. I still feel like I can't say it.
You definitely can say it.
I'm going to get in trouble.
I don't think
I'm going to get something in the mail.
No, you're not.
Okay. Well, I worked at a Key Lime Cove.
Which is no longer there.
Which is no longer there.
No longer Key Lime Cove.
Okay, so
And Gurney,
can't do anything to me.
Gone.
Okay. Well, actually, you know what? I don't feel like I have a lot of bad stuff to say. I think
that's the thing. You don't have to have bad things to say. It could be good experiences.
Yeah, true. Okay, so I worked at a water park resort. And I had it was like a job, but it felt like it was a lot of different jobs into one, because we were kind of like a concession store. So we sold like baked goods. We also sold Starbucks products. So I also learned how to make the drinks. So had to be kind of like a barista as well. I eventually became the fudge maker. The fudge maker, which is kind of funny. But I got trained by whoever, like the brand, whatever fudge brand we had. They came in and trained me. It was like you actually had to get trained for it. That's awesome. But I really wanted to take that responsibility, because you had to make the fudge early in the morning before the store even opened. And I hate waking up like early, even to this day, like that. But I wanted it because then I got to like leave earlier. My shift would be done a lot faster. And because I worked most of the hours in the summer, I got to like enjoy my summer still. So anyways, that's why I wanted that one. But it was actually really fun. We had a really fun group of people working with us. That's actually where I met my best friend, Nicole. Hi, Nicole. She's got a lot of funny pictures. Maybe I'll have her send me some pictures.
Oh, we can put them in the podcast.
We can put them in. Actually, I don't know if I want to share those.
I think we should share.
They're bad. Did she show them to you on my birthday?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have Nicole send some pictures so we can put them on the podcast.
We'll see if I want to expose myself like that. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. We also had really cool supervisors that would let us tag team a lot of jobs that could easily be done by one person. Just to
problem with that.
Yeah, it was fine. I think because they knew we liked to go in twos. So I think in their eyes, like, you'll get it done faster. So just get out of here, go do it together. Yeah, it was really fun. So like I said, it was a resort. So it was cool getting to see people who were staying there for like a few days. Like you got to like kind of see the people that were there, get to like bond with them a little bit. Just like, I remember you from yesterday. A lot of the parents would go get their coffee really early in the morning.
Yeah, for sure.
So I really liked that part of the job, just getting to meet and like talk to people from lots of different places, because a lot of people would drive to come to this resort, obviously, or you know, it was like a family trip.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It almost felt like, I don't know, like it felt like its own little community in there because there was cliques. Now that I look back at it, like we all like concession people and like the restaurant people, we all like knew each other because sometimes you would have to help each other. So we all kind of hung out, and then like you see all the lifeguards like hang out, and then all the like the security, you would see them like patrolling, walking around the whole hotel, and then housekeeping too. Actually, my mom was a supervisor there, so like I knew a lot of like the people she worked with. She would come visit me. Yeah, it was actually really fun. The only thing is like hours were so crazy.
What time would you start? What time would you end?
Before I took like the fudge little job training
Fudge
thing.
maker.
Yeah. The hours were like really crazy. So you would work. I don't even know if this was legal at the time because I don't even think I was like of age. So it would be, I don't know, maybe like 3 to like 11:30, which I don't know, maybe that's a full shift. But for a kid,
like a long shift, and like I don't even know if you could stay out that late. I don't know.
Yeah, driving back late like that. Yeah, that was a lot. There was actually one time too where because knew like hours were pretty crazy sometimes, I didn't look at the schedule right, and I thought I had to be there after closing. By the way, I thought I had to be there the next morning at 6. I saw a schedule at 6. So I remember waking up early and I was pissed. Like, why did they schedule me like this? Having to close and then come in and open again, like really early. So I get there and then no one was there. And I'm like, why? Like, why am I the only one scheduled this early? And
6 p.m.
It was 6 p.m. Oh, yeah. I did the drive of shame back home, even though I was happy. And I think I feel like I kind of called off that day because like there's no way I'm going back there again today.
I think we've all like have done that at one point.
Called off?
Not even definitely called off, but looked at like what time you're supposed to be there, and it's the exact opposite, AM PM kind of situation. I know I've definitely done that at some point. But see, yeah, no, you got to. I mean, you got titled the fudge maker. Met one of your best friends still today, Nicole. You're also your mom and you both work there, so definitely a good job experience from the past for sure.
A good job experience. It was also interesting to see because, like I said, it was on like, especially in the summer, we were all there like all the time. So you start to see people like dating each other, and I still know people who are together from Key Lime, and they have kids now.
Key Lime may not be there, but
Key Lime
the
love.
people who work there and have found love are still going strong. Wow, that's awesome.
I know.
That is a good experience there. Before I share my last experience, gotta tell everybody about Upside. If you're not using Upside at this point, what are you waiting for? My co-host actually doesn't use Upside as much as I would like her to, or my friend Ben. Yeah.
Who dat?
Who dat? Well, the person sitting next to me doing this podcast of Couples Covers. But Upside, so basically, if you want to get money back for gassing up your car or going to specific restaurants, grocery stores, you just download the Upside app, check which locations have a certain money back that you can get, and it's as simple as that. There's no other way to it. Like, I literally use it every time I gas up. You have your own routine, right? You're going to pass it by a certain gas station. Boom, use Upside. And then if you actually use the code VU2WD, again, that's VU2WD, you can actually get a special first-time use for it with just that code. And like I said, everyone has to gas up their car. Why not get money back when you do so? So again, use that code VU2WD to get that discount, and go to whether you use Apple or the Samsung or whatever it may be.
Apple.
Samsung. But go download the Upside app and save some money on doing the things that you have to do regardless of whether you want to or not, like getting gas. So go download Upside. The one last job that I kind of want to share and tell everybody about is my first job that I ever had, which was being a cashier at a UPS store, which was pretty cool and different from a lot of my other like high school classmates and what they were doing at the times for first time jobs. But I got an opportunity to work at a UPS store that was really close to home, and you get to do things like box up different stuff, package it, and just see where people are shipping different things to, and you just never know what you're gonna get on a certain day. It could be anything from a TV to like stuffed animals, Christmas gifts. We see it all. And then this one day that I was there, you also get to firmly hold and bubble wrap a bunch of dildos and sex toys. So that was
you had to firmly grasp it.
You had to make sure everything was right and wasn't gonna break. There was a lot of different shapes, sizes, bumps and grooves, and a bunch of things that you could use to have a time, right? So here's me, like they would go, I would get their information, where they're sending it to, and then my job would be to then take whatever object it is, whatever objects they are, and take it just literally 5 feet away on this platform where we package and bubble wrap all of the stuff. So what I was really hoping that wouldn't happen is like somebody would walk in to have to ship something and all they see is a bunch of freaking dildos on the table, and I'm just there like, oh, let me put some tape on there and put it in the box. But that was interesting. Hopefully the sex toys made it to their
safely
final destination, and hopefully the receiver of those sex toys
appreciated your hard work.
Yes. Yeah. There was a lot of options for that person. So hopefully they got what they wanted. But yeah, that was one of the things that I shipped. Another thing, like one customer seemed like a little rattled, a little.
Hold on, wait. I do want to say this just because when you mentioned this story, it reminded me of like during COVID time. I remember seeing there was I don't know if it was a tweet or a post. It was a UPS driver, because obviously during COVID, a lot of people weren't working. You just couldn't work, but there were certain jobs that had to. And this UPS driver was pissed because he's like, y'all are at home and I'm over here in like literally the middle of a pandemic just to deliver your vibrators and dildos.
Essential needs, right? I guess. That's
unfortunate.
Shout
That's
out to
sad.
the UPS drivers and everybody who does all those kinds of jobs, because they're hard workers and sometimes they're delivering not the most essential things.
Not the most essential.
But one of the other things that, again, I had to like ship out was like a customer came in. He was, like I say, a little frantic, a little bit, but it was just ate 40 pounds of tortillas. And I remember just asking, like, do they not? I think actually they were going to Denver. I don't know why I remember that, but they were going to Denver for some reason.
Oh.
And I just remember asking him, so like, do they not have tortillas in Denver? I'm like, I'm pretty. This is not like just a Illinois thing. Like, there can't be.
Do you remember seeing what the packet was?
I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we've gotten them before. Like, it's not like a very limited edition tortilla. It's just something that you can probably find at any
Walmart
grocery store.
something.
Yeah, but he was just like, I just need to make sure they get to the final destination. And I'm like, all right, man. Like, they'll get there. It was just such a large amount of tortillas.
What if the tortillas were covering something up?
They definitely weren't, because that was just straight up 40 pounds. 40 a dildo in the middle of the tortillas. They didn't want to, be ashamed of what was in there.
Just make sure these tortillas get to where they need to go.
Yep. Nope. Tortillas were in there. And then one of the other things that I remember packaging up, and unfortunately, this is also part of the job, like, it was just this most fragile, going to break if you ship this chandelier that I'd ever seen. This lady brings it in, like, it needs to get to so-and-so type of place. And I'm like, well, it's like, in my head, I'm thinking, there's no way in hell it's making it. We end up getting the location stuff, and now I'm in the back just, like, looking at it. How am I going to pack it? How am I going to bubble wrap this, wrap each individual light bulb, the frame, all of this stuff? It was like a big ball of bubble wrap, and Like I knew even doing that, and like with some of these objects, these obscure objects, you also have to make like custom boxes. You have to combine boxes, essentially break them down, tape them up so that they can fit in there. So it was like a custom made box to fit this weird shape of a chandelier. And after I like done the best I could, like a week later, my boss tells me like, yeah, the chandelier didn't make it. Luckily, the customer did insure it, and you know, like it was covered, but I remember my boss telling me like, yeah, it wasn't on you. Like that's a tough one to kind of get from point A to point B. So that's what happens sometimes when you bring in like, if it was a dildo, I would have got your thing right, the location, it would have made it safely, but chandelier, not so much.
Sturdy and not as breakable.
Yeah, so.
Well, so if it's insured, does that mean they get the money for whatever item that didn't make it?
I think they can insure it for up to a certain price. So I want to insure it for up to $500. So maybe the chandelier is not worth. Maybe it's worth more. I forget exactly how it worked, but I remember they did insure it, and that like they got something back for it because that thing did not make it.
Did not make it after all your hard work.
I know. I worked on that. I remember my coworker was like we're gonna do the best we can with this one, and we failed.
Dang. What if it was a one of a kind piece?
Then find another way. Drive.
Yeah, drive there. Honestly,
something.
I think if I had to ship off something that fragile, I would feel more safe just doing it myself. But then again, you can be shipping things off to like a different state and stuff.
Yeah, no, and it definitely was a different state, but yeah, just
it's like they were shipping it like down the street or something.
I'm broke. Yep, that's yeah. UPS was fun. I didn't like the uniform though. I didn't get many shirts for some reason. They gave me like 2 shirts to wear, and I was working there like consistently. Mm-hmm. But one shirt fit up top here, but if like I had to go like the top shelf, it would like raise up. So I always wore like a white shirt underneath, like the one. I don't know.
I'm trying to flash anybody.
Yeah, with my side of my hip. No, but it was a fun job.
Do you have any pictures of that?
Of like taking a selfie at UPS or?
Oh, you were a big selfie guy. I'm sure you have some selfies.
Wow, expose me on the podcast. we were all in that stage. I don't. Maybe. I don't know.
You know what cracks me up?
What?
You saying we all went through that? I do remember that I used to have a camera. Like, I think I got a digital camera. I must have been like 14 or something. And like years later, I found this camera, and the amount of awkward selfies that were in there is just so funny.
You guys get those like Facebook memories, and you just like shoot this up into the sun and make sure nobody sees this again. There's like bathroom selfies. You're like, yeah.
I think the one cringy. I saw, I was in the bathroom wearing sunglasses.
Oh yeah, I definitely have done that, and not my proudest moment. Yeah, no, we've all been there. We've all been there with the bathroom selfies, and yeah, just things that, like I said, shoot up into the sun.
But I'm just sad you don't have one in your little
I don't know
uniform.
if I do. I don't know if I ever felt like, oh man, I'm looking good in the UPS uniform. Let me take a picture. But yeah, I think I'm seeing that we have only a couple minutes left of recording, but I think we made it through the end of this episode.
Yeah. We didn't mention that we both worked as camp counselors.
That's right. Yeah.
But we
did. And
also
we're teachers too.
Mm-hmm.
Or I kind of was a teacher. I was an instructional assistant, but still teaching.
Worked at a school. Yeah.
Those are fun jobs, though.
Those are really fun jobs. I still, to this day, like, I can't believe they pay you to, like, go on these fun field trips.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it is a big responsibility as a camp counselor because you're responsible for all these kids. And I know at the one that I worked at, you can take them like down the street to go to like the library. So, I mean, you do have a big responsibility taking care of a group of kids, but it was really fun. Like getting to go on field trips, getting to go to the water park. movie days. I'm like, I'm literally getting paid right now to watch a movie with these kids or make bracelets with the girls. It was so fun.
It's a fun job, especially like, maybe after, first semester of college or second semester, and then going out watching kids. And I would drive them when we go on field trip. I'd turn up the music, and they're like, yeah,
You
Mr.
were the
Nick.
cool one.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely was a cool camp counselor. Ask anybody who worked there. But yeah, driving down there and going to the zoo and stuff like that. But also like, being a role model in a sense for some of the kids too. And like, it was a really fun job. Really cool. If like you haven't done it, well, I would hope like people who are watching this, they're probably our age. I mean, or maybe who knows? But it was definitely a fun job. If
I always tell my sisters too, because my sister is in college. I'm like, go get it, like camp counselor job in the summer. It's so fun.
Yeah, easy, and you get paid to do it. So
yeah, I remember being so like tan after that too, because you're just outside all summer. But that's actually why I went into teaching, because I actually really loved working with kids. And obviously, like, a school setting is way different than, like, a fun camp counselor, like, summer job. Mm-hmm. But it was, like, what made me interested in going into teaching. So it had a big impact on me.
For sure. And it was something that we connected with early on in our relationship, both having been camp counselors and teaching. So there was a lot good that came out of that. But, I'm glad we fit that in right at the end of episode 6 of Couples Coverage. I can't believe we've already done 6 of these.
That's crazy.
It's flying by so fast. Appreciate everyone who has supported us since the beginning, and maybe this is the first time watching. Thank you for just watching the episode or listening if you're just on Spotify. But make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, on Spotify. Give this video a like. And again, put in the comments where you've worked. We want to see some of the jobs that you worked at, what you didn't like, what you did like, and see just some of those experiences like we shared here today on this episode. It's a lot of fun going down memory lane and kind of sharing this with all of you. But that's going to do it for episode 6. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Adios.
Bye.